Or 2 years ago, or?
Actually, it's interesting. He's probably processing faster this year than he was a year ago. But but I think he might be seeing things a little bit different. It's it's really what he studies on tape, what he sees, before the ball snapped, and then as the ball snapped, and how everybody moves to get him to where he's going to go. That was a situation where they kind of rolled to a little different coverage than we thought they might. We thought they were going to pressure us, and they didn't. And Rick was smart enough to be patient and just sit, back there and wait till Darrell cleared and put the ball right where it had to be. And Darrell did a great job of just, staying, on the end, inside the end line there, getting his feet down as he caught the ball. But it's something that we do teach on that play. We weren't expecting that coverage necessarily the way it ended up, but Rick was patient enough to sit on his back foot and let it clear and give him the ball.
You touched on Stanzi's preparation. You said it's one of the best you've had here. What does that mean exactly? What does that mean for hours? What does that mean for film? What does that mean for studying and just having that command? To be able to tell the guys on the scout team, you got to move over a little bit.
Well, he just studies the looks. He studies the tape. He's got himself a little notebook that he's got everything jammed into, and he's pretty meticulous about those kinds of things, and he's always got a plan, even for, hey, how am I going to improve this week? I've got these 3 things I'm going to work on. I've got to get straightened out. But he will, he knows how to study the tape. Where he usually starts with that secondary, then depending on what we're looking for, he'll go from there. So he even has come into me on I'm trying to remember if it was Sundays. No, it was a Monday around noon, and we usually don't have our offensive staff meeting until around 3 o'clock, where we begin to start to, we watch all the tape, then we get together as a staff and then talk, start to input the first down game plan, in the run and pass. Rick would come in and say, hey, can you tell me what formations we're using, this week? And I would say, oh, well, that's why we're going into this meeting right now, because we're not quite sure. Here's an idea of what we might be using. Basically because, and then he goes on to say, hey, well, because I don't want to waste any time looking at these formations we're not going to use, because each personnel group has 2 to 3, sometimes four formations to it, and, it helps if you can narrow it down and just study those looks. But he can tell, by the shade, he can tell by shades of defensive linemen, or, where linebackers are exactly, pretty easily, what's going to happen, and get us into a better play. And we have a starting point in each area, whether it's run or pass, that that he works from, and then and kind of goes from there. But he knows those guys pretty well. He knows them pretty well.
How soon